Please sit. I'll call the meeting to order. Ask you to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Audience of citizens, Mr. Grillo, do you have anything to say?
Can I make a comment about the minutes from last month?
You may, but maybe, it may be answered, the question may be answered. Go ahead and make it.
Yeah, the 489,000, that, how do we recoup that? I know half of it was for the sewage, for the manhole covers, like 178,000 or something like that, but how do we recoup that?
How do we recoup what?
Well, you're saying, the 489,000. You're saying they owe, that the sewer owes the general fund 489,000. This is the April 16th minutes.
Yep.
We working on, how do we?
You don't.
You don't?
You don't. You have to hope that with the, we increased the sewer rates last month to $650
Yeah,
instead of $450.
yeah,
That's all you can do. You can't recoup that. You can't go back to the user
yeah.
and say, we've been undercharging you for a long time. How would you like to donate a couple $100,000? I mean, that doesn't work. So we just have to, just keep it little by little, come back with it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, okay,
I'd like to have any other comments?
no,
Okay, then I'm gonna have approval of the minutes of the April 16th meeting, and as a regular meeting that was followed, approval of the following amendment to the Water Pollution Control Authority hearing minutes of, so let's just do the regular meeting first. We'll hear a motion to approve of the April 16th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that, we approve the regular meeting with the April 16th.
There a second to that motion?
Where are they?
I don't have it.
I don't have it either.
You don't have the minutes.
I mean, I have public hearing, the corrected public hearing, but I don't have.
You don't have the minutes of the meeting?
No.
Well, that's gonna be tough to approve if you don't have the minutes, isn't it?
And I did notice it until about 20 minutes ago that they weren't in what was sent in an email.
That's an obviously an oversight.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but
No, there's some mistakes, I made a mistake.
They are in the email.
Hmm?
They are in the email.
They are?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm looking at them. She sent them in the email, but she doesn't have them here.
You have a copy of the minutes? Yeah. Well, maybe 15.
Yeah, hold on.
Do either one of you have a copy of the hearing minutes?
Yes.
Then why don't we skip over the meeting minutes for now, and we'll just make a note of the fact that the members didn't have copies of the meeting minutes, when you're dealing with that next.
I got a copy here if you want it.
I think I'd rather go, we'll just skip over it for now and make a note of it in your minutes, and then we'll just move on, we'll take care of it next time, take care of it. Okay, I'm gonna ask a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing that was held on the 16th of April also. So you have minutes for that.
With the change.
What's that?
With
With the change. The change is, the word, in the public hearing minutes, the word residents should be amended to say employees.
So moved with the noted amendment.
Wait a second to that one? Motion made and seconded that we approve the minutes of the public hearing minutes and on April 16th with those, with the amendment from residents to employees. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That's taken care of. Okay. Oops. That's not the one I want to do. That one's the one I want to do. Okay. Unfinished business, we discussed an update, regarding an update on the Sterling Water System filtration plant. We've had a meeting, the meetings all that I referred to are all done by Zoom. We've had several different organizations that have been part of these meetings. And at the moment, this company named Jacobs, which is Jacob Engineering, which is the company that is gonna prepare the preliminary engineering report, is in the process of doing that. And they've asked for all sorts of information from us, which Judy has been good enough to provide. And, so that's a matter of, there's nothing we can do until they get that done. We do have a meeting scheduled for the first week in June, another update, Zoom meeting with all those different groups. And that's about where that stands. Basically, we're waiting for that preliminary engineering report, will give us an idea of exactly how the building is going, how the system is going to work. And, well, what the recommendation is anyway, so that's as far as I can go with that. The next item is discussion of the budget for the Sterling Water System. This is something we tabled last month, and Judy was good enough to come up with something. This is basically this is an attempted budget for both the sewer and the water. And this is nothing we need to act on at the moment. I think you feel a little more comfortable. I know I would, if she were here in a minute, because she's the one who deals with all this stuff on a regular basis, the taxing of the water and the sewer. And so she goes with all these numbers, and basically her numbers for the water system, just to give you an idea, would be an annual budget of about $120,000, $119,800. And that would be presented for this year, and with that, we would lose $47,977.11. That's how much we projected to lose, even at those figures. Almost $50,000. When it comes to the suicide, sorry about that, no pun intended. She came up with a budget for that as well, and these are just quite realistic figures. And that would be $161,863, and that is very tentative. Because Plainfield has not passed a budget yet, we don't know what they don't know what the increase will be with their sewer rates. It could very well be an increase, and, so we put in $5,000 for overage fees. But if we go over that, it could be an awful lot more. So that number is just a hypothetical, if you will, but it's just a starting point. So I'm gonna suggest that we table this until we get Judy in a meeting and have her explain these things in much better detail. So we'll know where to go, which way to go with it. That would be my suggestion. You can do what you like about it.
I move that we table this until Judy can be present to explain the numbers.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made second, just that we table the motion, table this, issue of the budget until we can get more information from Judy Stumble. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Have any new business anyone cares to bring up? Those two items there would be pretty much considered new business, I think. Any other business to come before this commission? We haven't had any complaints, recent complaints about the quality of the water, so no news, there's good news in that respect. Nobody has any other business to bring up? If not, then I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
There wasn't any comment from the lady that we sent the letter to,
The letter about,
the quality of the water.
if you're thinking about the person I'm thinking about, she wanted us to pay for a system.
Right, the lady on that
And we
side of the road.
notified her that that was not gonna happen, and why. And she told us that it was ridiculous and ludicrous, and used a few other adjectives, very nice adjectives, that felt as though we were totally in the wrong, we should do this, and so that's we've told her what we think, she's told us what she thinks, and it's gonna stay right there, because the answer is the water filtration plant. And that's, it's just that it's an extremely long, drawn out, slow process, that's all. Actually, I think, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I think the date that they've given as a possible start date is about a year from now. I wouldn't guess, I mean, I would think that if they were to start, let's just say July 1st of 26, it probably would take 8 or 9 months to get the thing up and running. So perhaps 2 years from now, possibly, you might have the system in place. That's if the funding comes through, because that's all still a big question mark. There's two different sources of funding here. The money for this study that I just talked about, this preliminary engineering report, is coming from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. That's federal money. The money to build the actual structure and connect to all the plumbing and connect it all up would be state money. So it's just, again, it's that, because you don't know what their answers are gonna, how they're gonna go, you simply have to hope. Kind of an iffy situation, frankly, but there's nothing much you can do about that. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Wait, did
Yeah.
did you hear any, talk on the water after the fire they had on Church Street?
Yes.
By people?
No, not a word from the residents of problems with the firemen.
So I thought maybe it,
Actually, I didn't hear a single thing from the residents, Pete.
unbelievable.
Not a thing.
That's generally when the water.
Oh,
That's
well, it stirs it all up.
Water goes
Stirs it
green.
all up, right. I will tell you about, speaking of those, she's referring to hydrants. We do intend to replace a hydrant up in the industrial park. Almost at the very end of the industrial park, there's a hydrant up there that is, just simply hasn't worked in a long time. We attempted to get parts for it and didn't work, so we're gonna replace the hydrant completely. And that's up there, right about in front of the cannabis place, right there. But that's gonna be done sometime in a week or two. Just so we'll know all the hydrants will be online. But no, I thought for sure that we would get a lot of comments about from the residents about that, because you
Yeah,
use a lot of water.
Generally, when we use that, a lot of water out of that system like that.
Yeah. Now, we had some issues with the pressure, apparently, that came out of there. And there was all sorts of talk at first, and what's gonna happen there is I had Wayne, Glow, who, was concerned about that. Had him talk to the people from Whitewater, and let them explain how the system works. There was a misconception that if there weren't three wells online, that there wasn't gonna be enough pressure. Well, that's not the case at all, because we have a 400,000 gallon tank at the top of the hill, and that's a lot of water.
That's filling the hydrant, that's doing the hydrants.
And that needs the hydrants as well. And, but anyway, there was some misunderstanding that they thought that if they didn't have all 3 wells online, they weren't gonna get enough pressure. So what Whitewater's agreed to do is look into the situation, see if they can find a way to get the controls, the well controls, hooked up so that if you need more pressure at a fire from those hydrants, the other 2 wells will kick in, so you'll have all 3 of them online. But anyway, it's just, I'm really surprised. I figured for sure we get all kinds of complaints about the water, but we didn't get any.
First I heard of that, and I thought they would have plenty of water, I really did.
Well, the thing is, we do have plenty of water. Apparently, there was some question about hydrant pressure, and that was very, there was a lot of people who were upset about that. So, anyway, like right away, I got to have to talk to Whitewater, because they're the ones who know all about that stuff. And so they got it squared away to everybody's satisfaction, so. So, any other business we want to discuss before the adjournment? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Motion made, second. Motion made, second, to be adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Apparently, we got a town meeting at 7 o'clock.
What's coming?
Well, you wanna read it? All these different things that you talk about. None of them